And so let me introduce another guest who knows a thing or two about cloud and AI. Please welcome Matt Wood, Vice President of Artificial Intelligence Products, Amazon Web Services. Hi, Matt.
Hello there.
Welcome to NetApp Insight. I remember the first NetApp presence at AWS reInvent in 2012, where I was at the booth, and we were so excited to see how the partnership between us and AWS could help really solve customer problems. You know, we've spent a lot of time working with you all around a variety of capabilities, and 3 years ago, we announced the general availability of Amazon's FSx for NetApp ONTAP service. AWS has a comprehensive AI strategy all the way from chips to applications. Could you please describe for our clients what are the most important AI use cases you see people taking on and your strategy for AI?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I was there in 2012 as well, so I actually walked past your booth, so thank you. It's a pleasure to see you all. Good evening, everybody. It's my opinion, and I think I probably share it with a lot of you, that generative AI is probably the single largest shift in how we're going to interact with data and information and each other, probably since the advent of the very, very earliest internet. And organizations that invested in the early internet, like Amazon.com 30 years ago, went on to experience pretty tremendous growth in the intervening 30 years. And it's my guess that all of you that are investing in generative AI today are going to experience multiple Amazons of growth in the next 30 years, maybe even sooner. The big use cases that we see kind of fit into three main buckets. The first is those that really want to get into the weeds of building and optimizing their own large language models, machine learning models, and artificial intelligence models. And there we make available a pretty broad set of accelerated chips, some from our partners like NVIDIA, some that we build ourselves at Amazon, called Trainium and Inferentia, designed to accelerate the inner loop of machine learning for training and for predictions, and to deliver by far the lowest cost per dollar and the lowest cost per watt for machine learning training on AWS. And that's really where part of FSx comes in. You really want to be able to get the data onto those chips, onto those accelerators as quickly as possible to be able to build these remarkable models and to be able to use them with your own data when you're running predictions against them. So that's deep in the weeds for the data science teams. We also make available a service that we call Amazon Bedrock, which makes available a range of different pre-trained models, such as anybody can pick up a model and start building it inside their own applications going forwards. So we believe that there's no one model to rule them all. So we have a range of 32 different foundation models. We make it super easy to evaluate them and pick the one that works well for your organization and for your use case. And the goal there is to really be able to fit your use case against the model. And there you can lean into the model's advantage, whether it is price performance or latency or intelligence, and find and mix and match the right model for your mission. And then finally, we make available a set of applications for those that don't want to futz around with models. They just want to be able to use the application with their knowledge workers, with their support teams, whatever it might be. And there you can just turn them on and start using them with your own data very quickly and very, very easily. So those are the three main use cases that we see.
You know, we launched Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP in September 21, and we are seeing accelerating joint innovation, service growth, and records for the service each quarter. What do customers tell you about why they choose our joint solution?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the number one thing we hear time and again is just security. There is a lot of customers, when we're working with them, when they start along their generative AI journey, they have this schism in their mind. And I can understand where it comes from, that in order to be successful with generative AI, they have to make some negative trade-offs as it pertains to the confidentiality and security and privacy of their data. And what we found is that working with FSx and ONTAP and the work that we're doing at AWS, that just isn't the case. We do not use any of the data that flows through our paid AI services to improve the underlying models, and you get full visibility over what data gets used where. And so it's just a very different model from some other folks. And so security, it's job zero for us at Amazon. It's job zero for all of you. And so that is really where it kind of begins and ends for a lot of folks. We also see just the raw performance being incredibly important, both for model training, when you want to be able to get very, very large data sets onto the accelerators to train the models, but increasingly for inference, as these workloads start to move into from prototypes into production, the majority of the workloads actually start to move into inference. You may train your models once a month, but you're going to run tens of thousands or even millions of predictions against those models every single day. And so having the right way of getting the right information with the right security, with the right performance characteristics into those models to start working with them, super, super important. And then building on that, the final piece is just resilience. These workloads, as they start to move from early experiments and toys that people get very excited about to workloads that are proving to be very, very useful, that move to the very center of a lot of organizations, like we were hearing from J&J, resiliency of those workloads is paramount because they're going to sit at the very core of the business. So those three pieces are what we do most often.
Couldn't have a better endorsement of our technology. Earlier this year, AWS published a framework for integrating FSx for NetApp ONTAP with Bedrock, Amazon Bedrock. Can you tell us, how these new capabilities, they could take advantage of that?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's most customers that we speak to, they're moving very deliberately down their generative AI journey. They're starting with early experiments, they're moving to prototypes, moving into production. There are some customers that I've spoken to that have gone all in on AI. They've retasked thousands of their engineers over a weekend to focus exclusively on generative AI, moving very, very quickly. But without having to go all in, there is a group that is moving kind of faster than the average. And counterintuitively, it's actually the regulated industries. Financial services, insurance, healthcare, life sciences, manufacturing, those sorts of areas where the compliance with those regulations that maybe felt like a bit of a headwind at times for those organizations have actually driven the right set of behaviors to be successful with generative AI quite quickly. It's all around the unsexy stuff of governance. Well, I think it's pretty sexy, but the governance, privacy, the policies, all of those parts where you know what quality data you have, who can use it, what services it can be used on, and what it can be used for. Putting all that in place has already been done by a lot of these organizations, and as a result, the generative AI piece is actually a relatively small incremental lift, and they're able to move much more quickly as a result. In addition to that, as I'm sure many of you in this room, these organizations have absolutely huge volumes, petabytes, if not exabytes, of privately held text data. This is information which the models have never seen before, and which is, clinical trial reports, market research, financial reports, all those sorts of things. And generative AI today is really great at looking inside that information and starting to find correlation, find areas which are similar, create summaries, and almost as important, find areas where there's disagreement. And so being able to run those workloads quickly and easily means you can move very, very quickly. And as a result, most of these organizations that have had to sit on the sidelines a little bit with their digital transformation journey, as they've been looking at other industries like media streaming and hospitality and travel that have been completely revolutionized with the internet, they're looking at generative AI to not just catch up, but to actually leapfrog ahead.
You had a couple of really important points there, Matt. Is that your call to action? Get your data ready. We've got people that in our audience that are responsible for the unstructured data assets of most of the world's large organizations. And if you had one call to action for them to get ready for this, transformative set of possibilities, what would you say to them?
Yeah, for sure. I think number one is to just get your data in order. The way in which these models operate mean that you can take all of the data that you already have and start extracting some of the latent value from that information. There's low-hanging fruit across all of that data. And to be able to very, very quickly and safely and responsibly start to inspect that information in new ways is going to open up just myriad new opportunities going forwards.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the work that we do. Thanks for coming to NetApp Insight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt Wood.